UFC 305, the greatest middleweight of all time, Israel, the last stylebender Adesanya, will look to become a 3-time middleweight champ, taking on Dricus Du Plessis, the real African. Hebs, give me your take on this fight getting announced.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are pretty mad with the announcement just because I think we spoke last week about this like cluster at the top of the middleweight division or who was going to get the next shot when like we all knew it was Izzy. We can argue about who's more deserving, Izzy or Strickland, but like we knew they were going to make this fight, and I'm very excited. And I honestly prefer this fight over the rematch with DDP versus Strickland. I thought DDP won. I feel like after you lose the belt, when you never really defended it, you need you need to go win a couple fights. The automatic rematch I don't really love. So Israel Adesanya, we get to see him as a contender again, as a challenger again, which seems to be the best version of him. Like when he was coming up, he was a very different fighter than when he became champion. People started to turn on the guy. He loses the belt, and then probably I would say his most memorable performance to date. Clearly his biggest win, the second Pereira fight with the KO. So challenger Izzy, very excited to see him. And I do like this matchup for him. We were just discussing the odds. What did we say? Minus 150 for Izzy or mince 130?
Yeah, I saw something on Twitter that was saying opening odds of like Izzy as a slight favorite.
I think you should be a little bit higher. I don't really love that as someone who's backing Izzy in this fight, but I prefer this fight over Strickland getting the rematch. I think if you're Sean Strickland, you could sit out now and you'll still probably get that. I don't know if you have to fight again, but regardless, I'm very excited for this fight. This was the fight, as you mentioned, they were about to make last August, September. This was the Whitaker and DDP fought. The winner got Izzy. Those were the rules. DDP won. It was his turn. They cut the promo. I might be African, but I'm no brother of yours, son. I don't know if that was good DDP, but one of my favorite lines, Izzy, that was a very Aljo and Sugar Sean-esque performance. I mean, holy smokes, that was terrible. But DDP stayed in the pocket with him and fought through the adversity, and I thought he won that interaction in the cage. But will he win the fight in the cage? Talk to me, Justin. What do we think? Early, obviously, we're still a couple months out from this fight. Izzy, not to mention the Strickland fight was in Australia, right? It thought he had the home turf advantage, and it was quite the opposite. That was really we've seen the hate on Izzy build for a while, but that might have taken the icing on the cake. Justin, how do you see these two matching up in your first look at it?
Dude, I will say when you talk about, I love championship fights where you know it's going to be like a high level fight. Like it might, there might be some championship bouts that are like landslides or one guy's got a significant edge in this part of the game or whatnot. Like when I think of this fight, I think I could see it going so many different ways. I could see a classic Izzy counter striking dominant performance. I could also see a DDP mix up the wrestling, maybe overpower a guy like Izzy. There's a couple of different outcomes that I think we could see. Gonna have to break down a little bit more film as we get closer to the bout. We'll obviously have the best breakdown in the nation for you guys at Ballin' and Brawlin'. But yeah, dude, really looking forward to this one. It's always great in the middleweight division if Izzy's the champ, but hey, if Izzy gets dethroned here by DDP, do we see Izzy hang it up? Do we see Izzy go light heavyweight? I mean, he's a smart guy. He won't be going up to light heavyweight. He knows who resides. He knows who resides at 205. The guy who's saving the company right now. We'll just leave it at that. But yeah, dude, big fight at 185. Huge fight.
Yeah, we talk about that briefly at the end of the last, talking about the new Pereira versus Yuri matchup. Izzy, for a long time, he said he was going to move up to 205. He did move up to 205. He immediately said, yeah, not won't be the last time you see me here. I will finish with this belt. In come Alex Pereira. Out come Alex Pereira. Heads up to light heavyweight. And then Izzy was like, Yeah, I got about 2 more fights, and that's all you're going to see of me. I will not be fighting.
I'm just looking to take heads, no belts, just heads.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's very interesting to see. Like, he was also so active as champion, which now in this era of inactive champions, we realize how much we took for granted. Him, Volk, and Usman, and Izzy. Kind of say what you will about his style, the counter striking, not coming forward. Obviously, the guy gets a lot of hate for boring fights, but you cannot hate on that guy's activity as the champion of the world, turning around, fighting every 3-4 months, 3 times a year. You just don't see that. There were always crazy numbers where it would say, like, since he won the belt, he had whatever, like 12 title fights in 3-4 years. It's just ridiculous, the work he was putting in, and winning all of them for a while, not so much recently. If we're going off recent history here, the guy has fallen on kind of tough times. The Pereira L gets his belt back. And then all of a sudden, we remember what happened in September. That was the last time we saw him. I'm not going to be fighting till like 2027. The most classic MMA fighter thing of all time. 2 months go by, and now I'm back in the gym. I'm ready to rock and roll. So we're seeing him way earlier than he said. You mentioned DDP might just, kind of rough him up a little bit, out tough him, might be the bigger guy in this fight. But Justin, let's not forget who Izzy is. Do you not think that that's kind of, the perfect style for an Izzy, like a guy who's going to come forward, guy who has that little, people forget before the Whitaker fight, you Google this guy's name, or not Google, you search him up on Twitter or the talk, and it's all him, these loopy punches, this goofy style. Do you not see some openings for a counter from Israel Adesanya?
No, there absolutely is openings, but one, I think, especially in his last couple fights, you don't see Dricus get too out of position like he was early on. Like in the beginning stages of his UFC run, he was just like, I feel like, just overpowering guys, like using his strength and just being the better athlete in there. Whereas now you see the Strickland fight, he goes 5 hard rounds, like stays tight pretty much the whole fight, like good enough to outpoint Strickland in a 5-rounder, which is hard to do. And then we see, bro, for a guy to just finish Rob Whitaker the way he did, bro, is like, that doesn't happen much. I mean, the only other guy I think is Izzy.
Yeah.
And these two are now fighting each other. So, but another thing I do want to say is, I know we talk about Izzy being this amazing counter striker. He is one of the best strikers of all time. Strikers, yes. But what I'm saying is, I don't buy the whole he's an insane counter striker. Like, he's one of the best strikers in the sport. But counter striker, like, yeah, he landed his eyes were closed on a step back left hook against Whitaker the first time. He KO'd
That was not.
Brunson.
Who cares that his eye? That was a sick. That's like one of my favorite, or not my favorite.
No, it was sick, but I'm saying, how many counter shots has he really put people out with? You know what I mean? Like, he dropped Costa. I would say that was a counter when he landed the left hook on Costa.
So we just named
Whitaker. Would you say Pereira? I mean,
Pereira.
I don't know if that was
named 3 title fight.
I don't know if that was I don't know if that was necessarily a counter.
Dude, he was playing possum. That's what you don't understand. He was playing possum, so you wouldn't know anything about that. He fell right into Pereira fell right into his trap. So actually, you're wrong, but I'm joking, ladies and gentlemen. If you think that, you are a moron. Hit that unsubscribe button, dude. Get lost.
No. Subscribe.
I'm kidding. No, unsubscribe and then resubscribe, and then do it one more time for the algo. But yeah, dude, I do think I like Du Plessis. I feel like, again, he was kind of a guy who just got memed on all the time because he does do some weird stuff, or at least he did. I don't know. Now he's I think he's grown on a lot of people. I think he did really well in the build up to the Strickland fight. I thought he did well with Izzy. Like, he's not afraid to go back at someone. Like, I kind of liked him and I kind of I think I'm lying a little bit that was a little bit of a strange buildup, all that talk. He's like, have those belts ever been to Africa? Like, I wake up every morning and breathe that African air. And then Izzy, obviously, that set him off. That's one of my favorite lines ever, that DDP wakes up and breathes the African air. But Izzy, that he really took that the wrong way. And I don't know, it started a little bit of a race war. It was very odd. And then leading up to that, face off in the cage, which is like one of the weirdest things of all time. But yeah, I do think so. I like Du Plessis. He showed he was championship material against Strickland. I thought he won. Some people think he didn't. But that marching forward, eating punches style, it worked against Strickland, who's usually the guy doing that to other people, right? He is the one who marches you down. When DDP decided to do that back to him and meet him in the middle, it seemed like Strickland kind of froze up. Izzy is not going to freeze up in those situations. He is going to pick you apart if you charge in like that. We just named a few guys he's done it to. I love that first Rob fight. You know, you think of Rob was fighting super, super aggressive, and he just kept getting touched up, and he kind of got knocked out twice within 2 rounds. So I just see that happening here. But we're a ways away. I do want to watch. I haven't rewatched Strickland DDP, so I definitely want to rewatch that. But again, I'm excited for the buildup of this fight, and I do think just from that perspective, it's another reason. I mean, this goes without saying, right? That's why they're doing it. This buildup would be a lot better than Strickland DDP, regardless of whether or not the UFC hates Strickland. Like, DDP and Izzy hate each other, so they're going to go at it. By the end of DDP Strickland, they were kind of friends, so not as exciting. Izzy is going to, get ready for a lot of terrible Israel Adesanya lines. That's all I know. Frozen like Elsa. And a lot worse than that. And then he'll flick his wrist like this because he does that to put the microphone down. Comment if you know what I'm talking about, but it's one of the strangest things ever, But yeah, so Perth in August, we'll be breaking that down when the time comes. But big announcement from the UFC. No one should be surprised. And we are definitely excited to see who can wake up and breathe more African air.